Hi everybody, it is Nick from Booster as a Cannes correspondent for the Marketing Society. And we're here in Cannes, as you can tell from the sunshine. Fortunately, we're out of the sun, aren't we?
Yes,
It's,
very much
it's
so.
rather warm, sort of mid-30s probably. But I'm here with Matt, and I'll let Matt introduce himself in a moment. But we're talking about creativity and what the key to great creativity is. So, Matt, please could you introduce yourself
Certainly.
first?
Okay, hi Nick. So, Matt Bourn, I'm the Director of Communications at the Advertising Association, but also AdNet Zero. I've also written 2 books as a co-author, book on advertising and climate change called Sustainable Advertising, and then most recently a book on trust. What the hell is happening to trust
Yeah.
in the 21st century, and that's called Trusted Advertising.
Goodness, fascinating. And we'll put a link in the description as well to the books. And please tell us what you feel or you believe the key is to great creativity.
So I'm going to give you the trade body answer.
Yeah.
Right. So the Advertising Association is celebrating its centenary this year, 100 years. So back in 1926, the press barons sat in a room with the advertisers and the agencies, and they were all. I picture them sitting in this wonderful banquet. And after the 3-course meal and the cigars,
Yeah.
they're talking about
With
this
panels,
advertising industry. But actually, what they were concerned about was: is anybody checking whether we're making loads of money from these things that are coming into the back of the newspapers and the front of the newspapers? But is anyone checking whether or not they stack up, that they do what they profess to say they do in the ads?
Yeah.
And out of that was formed the Advertising Association, and you follow that through, and you have things like the ASA being formed in the 1950s and 60s and so on. So in this centenary year, the Ad Association, the core mission is public confidence and trust in advertising.
Yeah.
Can people trust our work? And our think tank, Credos, has been really sort of tracking and understanding what makes people trust the work.
Great.
And the number one driver of people's trust is enjoyment.
Okay.
Make ads that people enjoy. So when you ask me about creativity, I start from, and the AA would start from, who's the most important customer of advertising? It's the public.
Public, yeah.
And when you're thinking about creativity, it's about making work that people truly enjoy. That you're an invited guest in their front room, yeah. And then you unpack that, and that's what we do in trusted advertising with the Credos team as well. So you look at the creative sort of elements. So, for example, at the moment, I think the stats were something around 38% of people say that they enjoy advertising.
Okay.
So we see that as a massive opportunity to see more work that people enjoy.
Yeah.
And then they unpack the pillars of what works. And the number one thing is the choice of music, interestingly.
Okay.
Choosing great music to support advertising. And I would point to someone like EE at the moment. Look at their ads. The latest one is Yes Boys for the World Cup.
Yep.
Classic Underworld, Born Slippy.
Yeah. Track.
Yeah. Watch EE's ads over the last 2-3 years, and every single ad has an amazing song connected to it. Another thing that you can do is make people laugh. I mean, funny, just being funny in advertising is really good, and we're seeing some humour come back. But I guess the anchor of this is it work that people enjoy and want to spend time with, or is it just another, getting in the way of that piece of content or that thing that I want to do? Because the most negative thing you can do, as almost as the counter to creative enjoyment, is bombardment.
Yeah.
We find that the number one negative factor is just too many ads being served at people that really just get in their way.
The frustration of yes,
absolutely.
I've had enough. Yes,
Absolutely.
okay. And so, yes, it's interesting with enjoyment that you pick up on music and humour, because enjoyment is also mental stimulation. It is sometimes fear. It is sadness. It's all of those different emotions.
Yeah,
isn't
it's
it?
the emotional response and that empathetic sort of emotional connection. So you're absolutely right. One of the other things is, does it make me feel something? Is there that emotional connection in there? And the best ads do that, and the greatest ads do that over a long period of time. And I think that's where, if we're looking for, because as the AA, what we're about is essentially championing the best of our industry. We're advocates for advertising. You know, our role here is actually to be an advocate for UK advertising on the world stage.
Yep.
We want more international brands to come and do business with UK advertising.
Yes.
So that, you know, that's one of our roles here this week is to do that. And I think that there is something brilliant about UK advertising. We do have a sense of humour that's unique, and it's not just our advertising, right? That's our film and our telly and our books and our, you know, there's a UK creativity that travels far beyond the UK when you look at, you know, essentially the power of our creativity.
And I love that as well. You know, mentioning film as well in the UK. It feels like the same marker, right? It's the same metric as far as did you enjoy that film?
Yeah, exactly.
Were you entertained?
Yeah.
Same with advertising.
Totally the same as advertising. And I think, you know, I was lucky enough to judge the Outdoor Media Awards, and the event for that was kind of last week in central London. And my goodness, like, you know, I was sort of raving about it the following day, because the best out of home work is the most commercial form of art you can possibly find.
Yeah.
A beautiful poster that conveys in an image and a few words something so powerful. That is pure creativity.
In such a short amount of time.
In such a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And I love Out of Home as an example of a channel because it's public. It's, when it comes back to can I trust it, it's probably the most visible way of making a promise to people. And you're exposed by that promise, right? So you've got to deliver it.
Yes.
You can't hide from a great big billboard that says, you know, we're the best at. So I love that sort of outdoor, out of home. But, you know, hey, we're advocates for all forms of advertising. And again, in the book, what we do is we unpick, if you like, the various different reasons that people trust advertising depending on what channel they're on.
Yes.
And that in itself is, you know, again, and because there are creative tweaks in the way in which that trust is built depending on the channel.
Yeah, okay.
We spent a tremendous amount of time, we didn't realise we were going to write so much about influencers. Mm-hmm. We thought we were going to write a section of a chapter, and we ended up writing 2 chapters.
I'm not surprised, because it became the Wild West for a little bit of time there, didn't it?
Well, possibly still is.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of compliance rates, it's got the lowest compliance rates of all channels.
Yeah.
But then that's partly because it's the newest, partly because you've got, you know, thousands and thousands of semi-professional and professional people learning and understanding the rules.
Yeah, of course.
But the main reason we ended up doing it was when we interviewed marketers, there wasn't one marketer who said, no, I'm going to spend less on influencers.
No.
Every single one was, we're going to spend more. And when you ask them why, they were saying, because I want to build authenticity in my brand. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is with influencers. Yeah. But if you look at the creativity that's required for you as a brand when you work with influencers, we interview content creators, clear distinction between the two.
Yeah.
And they were very clear. They wanted creative freedom. They wanted to be able to.
They don't want to be told exactly what to do.
They want to take the brand, and they want to do what they do with it with their audience.
Yeah.
And what struck me on the interviewing was a lot of them make funny content, but it's much more, dare I say it, almost kind of it's lo-fi, but it's damn funny. And it's a 30-second or a 60-second.
Because that's their one metric is, well, one metric, I'm sure there are many, but is attention. It is
absolutely.
Getting people's responses, it's engagement.
Yeah,
right?
I interviewed one creator called Wallbank, and she's brilliant. She started by doing a Draco Malfoy impression in a parked car in McDonald's. And it just went viral. Her little brother woke her up the following morning and said, "Oh my God, you know, look at what's happened." Yeah. And like 2 years later, she'd stopped her job, become a professional content creator, was making stuff for Disney Plus. Wow. And when you look at what M's doing, it's funny, and she's really, really smart. But I asked her, so I said, "Okay, so tell me about the content that you're putting out then. So do you think like 2 or 3 pieces of editorial and then you put a sponsored piece in? You know, do you think like commercial break?"
Yeah.
And she just looked at me like I was an idiot. And she was like, "No, I just make brilliant content that my audience is going to love. So if I ended up doing 3 commercials in a row, it doesn't matter as long as they work with the audience and the audience find them funny. And
as long as they're entertained.
As long as they're entertained, as long as they
entertained.
enjoy it. Exactly. It comes back to that.
That's what it does.
Entertain the people.
Are you not entertained? But very quickly, I think it is. We could go on for this for so long. I love all of this. It is around going from a one-way system where people you have bought spots on TV
Yep.
or on outdoor, and that exists and it happens. Whereas now it's much more earned,
Yep.
and that's why influencers are so much bigger, aren't they?
Yeah,
and,
it's a mix.
and other channels having all of that. But
Yep.
I do think that, and just, I guess, picking up on the entertainment piece, that people are so conscious now of that earned message that needs to be got across, because people realize they have to pull in audiences so much more than ever before.
Yeah.
That it is creating a much better, I guess, environment for people to want to do entertaining work.
Yes. There's certainly more advertising out there and more advertising opportunities. I think if you're still, like, we studied the IPA effectiveness data bank work, right? And if you're still a marketer looking to build a brand, you do it across multi-channel, multi-platform. Undeniably, influencers and creators are part of it. But I think what's really important with those emerging areas is that the work still remains legal, decent, honest, and truthful.
Yeah.
And that people have the confidence, and that comes back to, am I confident in what the brand is telling me, what the brand is promising me, and have you done it in a way that's kind of interesting and relevant to my life? We did a brilliant interview with Jessica Tamzedge, who's from Dentsu, superb. And she talked about how we've moved from controlling conversations to conducting conversations. And I really liked that, and I agree with that, that there was a time when, as a marketer, you controlled the conversation about the brand. But you cannot do that anymore.
Yep.
You are essentially putting your brand out there to be trusted for something, and then you are conducting it. And partly that means you're providing influencers or creators with your brand assets to be a part of that conversation. But there's more risk in that.
Yeah.
There's more risk in that as well, and so that control, I think, has gone slightly. But I wouldn't, in all of the conversations that we had, I wouldn't underplay at all the significance of being on telly, being on a billboard, being in a newspaper, being in a cinema ad, because they all say something about who you are as a brand, as much as working with the latest creator or influencer.
And leads to more trust, right?
Absolutely.
There is that feeling of they're on TV, therefore there is more likelihood of being trusted.
It's a complete, the best work is a combination of all of that. Look at the Boots Christmas ad a year or so ago, which was Santa's Workshop. There were 2 TikTok stars that were staff elves in the Santa's Workshop, and then the TV ad was turned into a live TikTok shop with the 2 Santa's elves on TikTok as follow-through. So what they were doing with the TV ad was they were building fame for the idea. They were bringing the TikTokers, if you like, to a more mainstream audience. And then they were bringing them back across to then the TikTok shop, right? And you can see how all of that works. And that was an incredibly successful, creatively recognized campaign.
Yeah, very, very good. So let's see if we can sum that up. So we have got definitely that entertainment is very, very important.
Enjoyment.
And enjoyment, not entertainment. That was my take on it. Enjoyment. And its many forms, and then also to build that trust, because that also gives permission to enjoy, I suppose.
Absolutely,
as well.
Yeah.
Matt, thank you so much. That's been absolutely fascinating. I love it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.